questions, comments, phrases? Anything from this week?
AWESOM.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. So it just means really, really, really great,
Great.
but higher level. You have good, great, awesome. Yeah. 超好。
超好。跟那个 clap your hand 音不一样，
Huh?
拍手
Applause.
Oh, house.
不一样。
Yeah, so pesos or so it's not the same. So this applause and then awesome is not the
不
same.
一样。No.
Applause or hand clapping is just
Uh-huh.
awesome. It's just like, yeah, great.
Oh.
Like that movie I saw was awesome. Very, very, very good.
You drive a hot burger.
Mm. So, bargain is to talk about price or talk about negotiate something, right? So you say like, oh, I need you to come in at 5 in the morning tomorrow. Can't. How about 5:30? Is that okay? Okay. All right, fine. Right? It's coming to an agreement, right? Or how much is this? You buy 5. Like just so expensive, right? No, I want it cheaper, so I'll give you 50. It's too cheap. Okay, 75. Okay, fine. Okay, so you're bargaining, right? So that's the bargain. But bargain and barter are the same. So barter or bargain, okay? But you drive a hard bargain. So you drive, right, like a car, but it's not talking about drive. Drive can also be like in baseball, they hit the ball and it goes for a line drive, right? It's to be pushed forward. Something's going forward, okay? So you could like hammer a nail, right? You can drive the nail into the wood, okay? So it's to push something. So if you're driving a project, you're not driving a project. You're the one in charge of it. You're pushing the project forward, okay? So when you drive a hard bargain, it means that you're being tough in what you want, okay? So the other side says 2,000. You say, sorry, I can go over here and I can do it for 1,200. I'm not giving you any more than 1,200. And I say, oh, well, but ours is better product. Okay, how about 17? You know, no, sorry, 12. That's the most I would pay. Fine. We really want your business, but this is better than theirs. So they do it at 12, but it's not gonna be as good. So we'll do 15. Sorry, 12 is all I can do. You drive a hard bargain. Okay, best price, 13, and you go, deal. Okay? So you drive a hard bargain, right? You're very strong with how you want the negotiation to happen. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay? But it can also be used as a joke. where it's like not used seriously. Okay, so maybe they say, I'll give it to you for 200. I'll give you 175. Okay, deal. You drive a hard bargain, right? Like just right away, it's like it's done. So it depends on how it's used, but that's the meaning. It means that you're hard to negotiate with. Okay, it's difficult. You're good at winning the negotiation, but they can also make it as a joke if you do it too easy. You're like, you drive a hard bargain, but okay. Okay, so. So it's difficult to win a negotiation with you. Negotiation, right? Like a bargain. Same. If you want good dictionaries for your phone, if you want a good dictionary, Google, yeah, that's okay, but Pleco. It's a very good one. It does English, Chinese, Chinese to English. But it's a very good one, and it's free, and there's many things in it on your phone.
Okay.
But you can also buy extra things. So like it has like the camera where you can hold the camera over the words and it changes it. I know Google has that now, but Pleco's is better. Google, if it's one word, Google's great. But if it's a sentence, Google is, it can be okay, but if it's a whole lot of sentences, it's terrible. It's really bad.
This
Pleco,
people.
this one's good, yeah.
Okay.
So it looks like, I think it has you.
Oh,
Voice. 에피토마.
Yeah,
鱼.
yeah,
Fish.
yeah. But the app is called Pleco.
Okay.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. If you're trying one word, it's fine. It's great. But Pleco, it doesn't do sentences. It's very, yeah, in the Apple store. It's very hard to get a translator for Chinese to English to do full sentences. It's very hard. Because the languages are too different, that sometimes a sentence can mean different things back and forth. Because I've seen where you take an English sentence, translate it to Chinese, then take that Chinese sentence, translate it to English, different sentence. Totally different sentence. So it doesn't work the same. So I think Pleco is very good. It's very comprehensive. So you download it, it's free, but then you can buy extra add-ons to it. Okay. All right, Trisha.
Chinese dictionary.
Any other phrases, words? Yeah, Danny?
you really wear the pants around here.
Wear the pants. Okay.
Wear
And then in a situation. Doesn't matter, it can be any situation, right? So the situation could be around here, okay? Or it could be in your marriage, or it could be at work, whatever the situation, it can change, but whoever wears the pants, if you wear the pants or she wears the pants, it's the person who's in charge, like the boss. But it's not the real boss, it's just the person who's in charge, right? Because sometimes you can have a boss, and then the person under him is still better at telling the boss what to do than the boss, right? Okay? So, it's the person who is in charge. Now, this comes from marriage. Okay? So if you think a long time ago, women wear what? Dress, right?
Yes.
Men wear pants.
Yes.
A long time ago, men, they were the leader of the family, right?
Yes.
And the woman had to listen to the men, right?
Yes.
So the men wore the pants, right? And now today, maybe the wife is in charge and the husband,
Okay, dear. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
right? So then you say, oh, she wears the pants in the family,
Ah.
okay? So it's a way of saying that she's in charge, okay? So whoever's in charge. Doesn't mean that they're the boss, but they're kind of the leader. They're good at telling other people, okay? So in charge. In charge. In charge, it's like boss, right? But you can be in charge, but not be a boss. And you can be a boss, but also not be in charge, right? It depends on the person. So being in charge doesn't mean that you are the boss. You are the leader. Do you know leader?
Yeah.
Okay. So being in charge is a leader,
Charge.
okay?
Yes.
So like sometimes in friendship, you have one person who's the leader of your group of friends, right?
Yes.
They're in charge, okay?
In charge.
Or maybe they planned a trip for the weekend, so they take charge and they say, well, I planned the trip, so let's go, we're doing this, okay? So you listen to that person, okay? It doesn't mean they're a boss, but it just means they're the one that is controlling the situation, okay? Derek, were you here last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were. Okay. Okay. Any other words, comments? Last one, Danny, this is your third one.
Substance.
Substance? Substance. So, this can mean a few things. So like, this pen is a substance, it's made of something, it's plastic. The substance is plastic. The substance of the desk is wood, right? The substance of a paragraph is words. The substance of the empty space in this room is air, okay? So it's the thing, right? You know what I mean? The substance in this glass is tea, right? We have tea inside, okay? So it's the thing. But when you're talking about substance at work, maybe they say, well, there's not much substance to this, right? So maybe you wrote something, you wrote a report and sent it to them, and they go, well, but there's not really any substance to it. It means there's nothing of importance in it. It's very simple stuff, okay? So in your writing, if there's no substance in it, there's no good information in it,
Substance.
okay? So in writing only, we consider substance information that's important. Right? I had a meeting with my boss today, but there wasn't really any substance to it. Right? You walk in and they tell you something, you're like, why didn't you just send me an email? Right? Okay? Because there was no information of importance in it. Now, if you write a report and you have so much information in it, and they say, oh, there's too much substance in this, You gotta find what's important and resend that. No, don't worry. Happens again, you're gonna have to talk to Mr. Pettigrew. Alright. Hey, Bridget. Okay. Oop. Alright. Back to this. Where did that go? Alright. Any other words? Derek. Vindictive. Ooh, that's a tough one. Vindictive. Okay, so we all know someone in our life who is vindictive. Okay? Someone who is vindictive, this is a noun. Okay? This is an adjective. Okay? Vindictive means, so if you know someone and maybe you do something wrong to them, just maybe by mistake, then they go, oh, I'm gonna get them back. I'm gonna do something to them, right? So because something happened to them, they want to get someone back for what happened to them, okay? So maybe you're walking down the hall and you bumped into Danny. You're, oh, sorry, Danny. And then Danny goes, oh, that Matt. Oh, he bumped. I'm gonna punch him when I see him next, right? That's being vindictive. It's wanting to do something because something happened to you. A bad thing, or maybe they see it as something bad happens to them, so they want to make something bad happen to whoever they see, right? You get fired from your job, and you're like, oh, my boss, and you call in something to the police about your boss and tell a lie or something, right? Okay, he stole money from me. That's being vindictive, okay? So you want to do something bad because you feel, maybe it wasn't bad, but maybe you feel it was bad what happened to you. So you want to do something bad to another person because of what they did. That's vindictive, okay? So it's someone who wants revenge.
Revenge.
Okay? So revenge is the noun of someone who's vindictive. Okay? To get revenge on someone, that's when you do something back. Okay? Debate. That. So to debate, this is to
Debate.
To argue with someone about a topic. Debate. Okay? So you see debate club here in school. The kids are given a problem. Okay? Should we have electric cars, all electric cars in Taiwan starting next year? One side has to say yes, one side has to say no, then they talk about it. Okay? That's a debate. So when you argue about something. Huh?
Yeah,
Vindictive? No, not at all. No. Vindictive is only talking about someone that had something bad happen to them, so they want to do something bad to who did that. Okay? Debate is simply you don't agree with someone. Chocolate is the best ice cream. She says vanilla is the best ice cream. No, chocolate's the best. If you look at sales around the world, it's the #1 selling ice cream in the world. She goes, but vanilla just has a better flavor. Plus it's white, it's creamy. No, you're wrong, right? Okay, and you're just going back and forth, right? Okay, so that's a debate. It's like an argument, okay? But it doesn't mean that it's like you're arguing like really bad with someone. You're just debating, okay? An argument can mean that you're yelling at someone. Why didn't you get a good grade? Well, I don't know. You wouldn't let me sleep, right? That can be an argument too. But a debate can be friendly, right? Like chocolate and vanilla. Like I'm not really gonna be like, no, chocolate's better, right? You don't about that topic. You don't get that angry, okay? So debate is it's arguing with no anger. Yeah, I should say that.
Argue with no anger.
And most of the time, no anger. Okay? Sometimes, of course, a debate can get more and more high tension, right? But most of the time, it's just talking about it, right? Other words? Let's go through this again. Substance.
Substance.
Vindictive.
Vindictive.
Debate.
Debate.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Applause.
Applause.
Bargain.
Bargain.
Negotiation.
Negotiation.
Remember, these two are the same. Bargain and negotiation. Okay. And that just means to get a good deal. Get a good deal. I got a bargain on these shoes. I only paid 20 NT for them. Okay.
Bargain.
Other words.
Good deal.
Other words. You've had your three. Let other people.
Gabi or Gabi. Gobi or Gabi. G-O-B-B.
Gobble.
Gobble.
Gobble. So, okay. Okay, this could be two things. The number one is to eat something quickly. So if you say, oh, you gobbled your sandwich, right? So just, right, to gobble up, okay?
Your sandwiches.
Yeah. Or you say gobble up as well.
Gobble up.
Yeah, you gobbled up your sandwiches, okay? You can add up to it. Gobbled your sandwiches, or gobbled your sandwiches up, or gobbled up your sandwiches. All are okay. Not up, gobbled up. Always after. Now, it's also the sound that a turkey makes. Right? Okay? So that's what we say the sound that a turkey makes, is gobble. So that's why in Thanksgiving it's gobble gobble, right? But also, that's where it comes from. At Thanksgiving, in America, we have these big meals, and you're eating a lot of food, and you're eating so much food, so you're, right? Okay, so you gobble up your food. That's where it comes from.
And the other one is supreme. S-U-P-R-E-M-E.
Supreme.
Supreme.
Supreme. It's the top, the best. The supreme boss at TAS is Dr. Hennessy.
Oh.
Okay? The supreme boss, right? She's the top, she's the head. Okay? The group of people that make the supreme decisions is the board of directors. Right? Okay? There's supreme ice cream and cheap ice cream at the grocery store. Supreme ice cream would be like Haagen-Dazs. Chief ice cream would just be the local brands. Right? Okay? So Supreme is like the top of the best. Now this is also a clothing brand now. So you probably see it on kids' shirts with a red Supreme. Okay? And it's a clothing brand. It's too expensive. Just go and get a shirt made that says that. Supreme. It's like, oh, I pay a lot. Okay? Any other words before we get moving? Danny, I know you're anxious, but I just want to see if there's other people, and then we can do it at the end if we have time, because there's still a lot to do. Yes, Sophia.
When the vendor asks for my price confirmation, they will say, please review and let me know if it's a go. Why it say if it is a go?
Oh, is it go?
Yeah.
So is it a go? Can we start?
Oh.
Right? Because you have stop and then go. So is it a go? Can we go forward? Okay? So okay? So is it a go? Can we do it? Give it a go. Go ahead and try it. Okay? So okay? Alright, so we might as well get started. I like doing this because it's very much related to things that you see, so you can understand it, but let's go through this. We're going to do another one of pronunciation. Hooray! Okay. So, today though, we're talking about syllables and stress. Okay? So, syllables. Do you know what syllables are? Syllables. Syllable. Right? 3 syllables. Okay? My name, Matthew. 2 syllables. Right? Okay? Pronunciation. Okay? 5. Okay? So, stress is talking about where the accent is. Okay? So, pronunciation. Okay? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so it's the second one. So last week review, we had vowels, consonants, diphthongs. Diphthongs is the grouping of sounds. Ow, I, O, right? Where it's like O, U, right? So it's 2 sounds that are combined together. Okay, we reviewed this chart, which is this is the phonemic chart, which is for International IPC, International Phonemic Chart, so IPC. So if you looked up the IPC chart, you'd be able to find it. Okay? So these were the ones that we focused on. A, oi, I, ow, o, right? And then there are also this, so this is e, so don't worry about ear, okay? Don't push the hard R, but right?
Ear.
And then and then
Air.
right? Because this is the schwa sound, which is the right?
Air.
Okay, so don't worry about those. So, A, Ray, I, Ride,
Right.
Ow, ouch, oi, boy, oh, no. Okay? So the worksheet that we had before, well, we spent a lot of time doing those, so I think we'll scrap the worksheet. Don't worry about it, we'll do it sometime later. Okay? So syllables. So it's the section of a word with a vowel sound with or without a consonant. So you need to see a vowel within the syllable in order for it to be made, okay? So, sometimes the syllable has a consonant, sometimes it doesn't, right? Vowels, A, E, I, O, U, consonant, all the other, okay? Y are both, okay? So they're the building blocks of words. So, English sucks, again, yay, okay? But, since English is not a phonetic language, right, we don't have it, like with Chinese, each character has a sound, okay? So, syllables are hard to tell. A lot of the times you just learn it naturally, and then you learn naturally like when you're reading, and then you just memorize it, okay? Right? So, a lot of the times it's a vowel or a group of vowels or vowels with consonants that divide a word into syllables. Okay, I know that sounds complicated. So it's a vowel, a group of vowels, or vowels with consonants. Okay, and sometimes they get squished together in speech. Okay, so you might think that there's two groups, but it's actually one that gets squished together. And it's a lot of the times that happens because of a certain sound. Who remembers what sound? Because of the schwa sound. So sometimes when you see what would look like it might be two syllables, it actually kind of gets smushed together because of the schwa sound. Okay? Because the schwa sound is when you don't stress the vowel sound and it just becomes right? And it's not but it's It's just very short, very soft. And sometimes it doesn't even have a sound. Okay? So, like in the word vowel,
Vowel.
what vowel do you hear? Vowel. Ow.
Ow.
Right?
Ow.
Do you hear is it vowel L? No. Vowel.
Vowel.
How many syllables is that? One. Vowel. Because it becomes ol. Do you hear the E? No. Do you hear the Am I going, whoa? No. Vowel.
Vowel.
Okay? So that's why it gets squished together sometimes.
Vowel.
Because of that sound. Okay? The schwa sound. Okay? It's the sound, but really it's almost like no sound. Okay? So, I have some handouts. Hooray! Some of you remember this from last year. This is the cover. Okay? And for the cover, I'm going to hand out. Just take one, pass it down. Let me keep one. And then also with these, take one. Actually, I'll start that way. You can take one and pass it down. You are actually there. And then whatever is left over, just set them on the end desk. Okay, so this shows you, I know you can't read it here, which is why I gave you a copy. Okay, this is the same thing that's on there, the cover. So it's talking about a closed syllable. So if the vowel is short and in a closed syllable, that's how you can identify one. Now, if it's a short sound, A, that's a long sound. A is the short sound, right? Okay? So, like the first word, happen, A. Now it's called closed because there's a consonant in front and after it. So then that creates, so, happen. So there's two, because the P, we have double P there, but we don't go happen. Right? So happen. Okay? Or letter.
Letter.
So these are what's called stop consonants. Stop consonant is when I don't go hap. I go happen. Right? So I stop and then I start again. Okay? So that's why it's called a stop consonant. Alright? Or I and O may sound like I and O before two consonants, like bold, boldness,
Boldness.
right? So bold,
Boldness.
or child. So you notice how it's closed, there's consonants before it and consonants after it, okay? So, ild, old, okay? And this looks like, before two consonants, it looks like most of the time it will probably be LD after I or O. But then it's not a short sound, it's not bold, it's bold, okay? So, the broad sounds, right? So we have the broad sounds, so want, or ball, before of two LLs, or when we hear the broad sound. So ball, right? So it's not it's okay? So pull, so it's a elongated, but it's not the long sound, okay? So, now I know this may be confusing to look at this chart. There's a lot of different rules, okay? Don't worry so much about this. A lot of it will come from just practicing how to read a word and how it sounds. These are just basic rules. And I just wanted to show you how syllables can be broken up. So they can either have a consonant on either side of a vowel. It can have an open, famous, where it has a consonant, but then the other side is open. So we call it an open syllable, okay? It can be multi-letter vowels. I, owl, ow, a, ed, e, a, u, a, right? Okay? Now, depending on how some of these are put in words, like the AUGH, the EIGH, the IGH, the OUGH can change. Though, thought, ought, right? Changes, but it's spelled the same, okay? Silent E's, okay? Now, it may look like cape, right? But we know that it's cape, okay? Or cake. It's not cake, it's cake, right? Because the E is silent, okay? And then you have R controlled, okay? So if there's an R after a vowel, ear, ear, R, or, our, okay? So like enter, bird, right? Hurt, right? Year, partner, okay? Major, or, jor. So, jor. Do you hear the difference? Jor. Do you hear that? It's a slight difference. Or. Do you hear that difference? Or. Okay? Okay, so it's a difference. So R controlled. So that's this cover technique. Now, I'm not going to go and beat this into your heads because this will make class really boring. And I just wanted to show you this so you can see that there's different ways to identify. If you want to take it upon yourself to review this every once in a while to see if it helps you with your reading, you can. But my suggestion is that you simply ask questions. How do you say this? And then repeat it. That's a better way, because when I was a kid, I didn't study this stuff. You just pick it up naturally, and that's a better way to go about it. But I still wanted to give you this to show you the different types of syllable breakdowns. Okay? So, why are we learning rules for reading? I just told you. Okay? I thought this was a conversation class. So, relax and know. Okay? I want to teach you some basic rules for reading English so you can continue to pick up new words on your own. Okay? Because reading is an essential part of learning the language. My language for Mandarin got so much better when I started messaging my friends in Mandarin, instead of them messaging me in English. I would just start sending them that, and they're like, oh, well, and so then I would go back and forth, but I would look at something and be like, okay, I recognize this, what's that one? So I copy, paste it into Google. Now I wasn't looking for a translation, I was looking how you say the word, because I already knew the word. But if I saw the pinyin for it, then I'd be like, oh, that's what they're saying. Okay? And then I started, after repetition, I started learning it and learning it and learning it. And then my Mandarin level went up a lot. Okay? So for you, I'm not asking you, if you feel like you're very low level for English, go and get low-level English books. When I was in Japan, I was reading children's books, like The Three Little Pigs, okay? Because also, next to kanji, they would have what the hiragana, but they would call it furigana, so it would tell you how to say the kanji. So I could learn how to do that. My friend gave me a gift when I left. It was a really complicated manga, like a comic book. And he went through and wrote all the furigana for me. So then I could read it. I still didn't understand most of it, but I could still read it, okay? So, reading is essential for two things. For learning grammar more naturally, and for your writing. The more you read something, the better you become at writing because you start copying what you see, okay? If I just sat in here and gave you grammar lesson after grammar lesson after grammar lesson, you'd maybe go up a little bit and you'd understand stuff, but by reading or watching TV and listening, it goes up much faster, okay? So you can search out and find new vocabulary. That's why I'm always asking you, go and find 3 new words every week, okay? If I was a really jerk teacher, I'd say go and find 3 new words every day, okay? Because then your vocabulary builds up, right? And it builds up much faster, okay? So syllable stress. Matt, you are stressing me out with all these rules. I'm not talking about that stress, not that stress, okay? So don't worry. Do you understand that joke? Stress. Stress. Okay, not that stress, okay? So this stress is referring to the strength in the sound of a syllable. So the stress is strong. So present. Da-da, right? That's the sound. Da-da, that's the strong sound. Now, it's not like, was it ma, 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 ma. It's not that type, okay? It's just the stronger sound, okay? Sometimes it has an uptick, sometimes it's a downtick, but it's the stronger sound so, present, okay? So, I am presenting you this. Now, you might look at that and go, but Matt, that's also present. I'll talk about that later, okay? So, the neutral sound in present is the da, so it's the first one, the smaller one, okay? So you have the da, the second one is the strong one. The first one is the neutral, okay? Then you also have the unstressed. The schwa, the unstressed, the okay, sound, okay? So presentation, okay? Da da da. Okay, presentation. I don't say presentation, okay? I don't say hyung, okay? Shun. Presentation. Shun. Right? So there's that in there, okay? So sometimes neutral and unstressed are the same. Okay, they can sound very much the same. Okay? Because it's not as strong. But that's okay. That's as long as you're just recognizing when I teach new words, especially the little kids, I enunciate. I say every single. So enunciate and pronunciate are 2 different things. Pronunciation is the right way to say it. Enunciation is saying every little bit of the word. Okay? I didn't say the. Right? The is the TH sound with the. But when you say the word, then the kids think THE. Okay? Instead of THU, the. Right? Okay? So enunciation is different. So if I wanted to say something to a little kid to get him to think about how the word maybe would be spelled, I would say presentation. Okay, that's enunciating. That's where pronunciating it. Presentation. That's the right way to say it, right? So, learning which syllable to stress or unstress will help you sound more native in your speaking, okay? So syllable stress can change the meaning of the word. So just like that word present or present,
Present.
Okay? So, those are two different words, believe it or not. Both those blue words are different words. Totally different words. Are you confused? You should be. Okay? So,
Present.
present,
Present.
okay? I'm showing you a presentation, right? I'm presenting you a presentation.
Present.
I'm giving you a present,
Present. Present.
okay?
Present.
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 Two different meanings, spelled exactly the same,
Yeah.
right? Okay? So, when stressing the first syllable, it makes the word a noun, unless it's a proper name, okay? Like Matthew, it's Matthew. It's not like Matthew, okay? It's not really anything like that, okay? So, this is the noun. Present. Done. Right? Present. Done. Okay? So then, when you stress the second syllable, it makes the word a verb. Now this is only talking about two syllable words, okay? So to present, I'm presenting you with the present. Okay?
Present.
So, yeah, and so that's talking about words that are spelled the same. Now, this is the handout that I gave you. Okay? So we're starting at the top of this one, on the two-sided. Two-sided. So that you can write on this, you can keep it, you can take notes as I'm talking about it. Now these are general rules of pronunciation. Okay? So, we can only stress vowels, not consonants. Okay? So, cat, the emphasis is on the A.
A.
It's not at. Okay? It sounds strange. Okay? So, stress on the first syllable. So most two-syllable nouns, like I said, present,
Present.
expert,
Expert.
okay? China,
China.
table.
Table.
Okay, so those are nouns. Alright?
Table.
So, most two-syllable adjectives, okay, as well. Present, slender.
Slender.
Now, present and present, you are all present in class. I will give you all a present for being present in class. Exactly. Present means you are here, right? Okay? So that's an adjective.
Adjective.
So, they can both mean a noun and an adjective because it has that first syllable stress. Okay? And this is talking about two-syllable words. Alright? So if you hear or you see that it's a noun or an adjective, you know that first syllable is the strong one. Okay? Now, numbers get stressed in the first syllable. Okay? 1, 2, they're all single, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? But 20 is all the strong one. Okay, so most of them. 100, where was that? Was it in the first or the second? It was the second. Right? Okay? But that's because 1 is its own word. So the stress still comes on the first part of the 100. Does that make sense? And don't worry, I know I've heard you all say numbers, so you don't need to stress about that, okay? But most numbers get stressed in the first syllable. Right? 20, 50,
50.
60, right? It's in. Okay? Alright. So, on the next one, bottom part of that page, stress on the last syllable. Most two-syllable verbs, okay? Just like I said before, present, export, okay? So, export is a thing that was sent out. This is an export that I'm going to export out of the country. Now, if you say this is an export that I'm going to export out of the country, people will still understand. Just like in Chinese, when you're learning it, the teachers would always stress everything to you, okay? But then when they speak to you normally, they don't really stress it, right? The tones aren't as strong. That's why I don't learn them, okay? Because in context, you can understand much more than by sitting there and listening to all of the stress, okay? So if I said, oh, I'm going to present you a present now, that's slightly stronger. But I think that when it comes to export and other things, you don't have to worry too much about it. I'm going to export this export. That's fine. Okay? Stress on the second from the last. So words ending in IC, graphic, geographic, geologic. Okay? So words that end in IC, the second from the last syllable will be stressed. Okay? Words ending in SION and TION. Okay? So television. Okay? Revelation. Okay? So if it has SION or TION at the end, the syllable that's right before it will have the stress. Okay? So stress on the third from last syllable. Okay? Words ending in CY, TY, PHY, and GY. Democracy. So you have
Democracy.
Democracy. Okay? Dependability. Okay? Photography. Geology. Okay? So, and words ending in AL. Critical. Now, critical. It's on the first one, but it's also third from the last place because it has AL at the end, even though it's only 3. Okay? So, geological. Logical. Right? Now, logical is another word, but geological, that's a different word, but logical is in both of those. And law is the one that gets stressed. Okay? So, now, compound words, words with 2 parts. Alright? Like, the stress is on the first part if it's compound nouns. So if it's noun to compound, like blackbird, greenhouse. Okay? We know black, we know bird, you put them together, it's a type of bird. So it's not blackbird, it's blackbird. Okay? We know green, we know house, we know you put them together, that's where you grow things inside the glass house, right? Greenhouse. Okay? Even though house has a strong one, in this it gets softer. Greenhouse. Okay? So, for compound adjectives, alright, the stress is on the second part. Okay? So, compound adjectives typically will be 2 adjectives with a hyphen between it. Okay? So, these tempered. Now that's tempered. You have 2 syllables there, but then when you say bad tempered, the tem is the one that gets it. Okay? Old fashioned. Okay? Now if you said like short lived, okay, you'd say short lived. Okay, the stress comes on the second part of that. When it's an adjective. Adjective that's compound, it's always 2 adjectives that are put together with a hyphen. Okay? So, for compound verbs, the stress is on the second part. So you know under, you know stand. Okay? It's not understand, it's understand. Okay? So it's on the stand part. You know over. Do you know flow? Flow like water flowing down river. Okay, so overflow. Not overflow. Overflow. Okay? So, do you understand that? I know it's a lot to absorb. You can look at these charts if you're ever curious about how stress works. Okay? There are some videos. We only have 2 minutes, so we can't really watch it. But this IngVid one, with their stress changes, it talks about like present and present. Okay? talks about words like that. You can check that out. Plus, Ingrid has a bunch of great slides. But I also wanted to show you these. These are some of the longest words in the English language. These are real words. Now this one, Disney created in the movie Mary Poppins. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. It's part of that song, that supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Even though the sound of it sounded quite atrocious. If you sing it, I don't know, you always sound atrocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. It's from that song, okay? But this one is, this is some scientific one. It's pneumonomicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. What? Yeah. This is a disease or a sickness, okay? And then this one is anti-disestablishmentarianism. And this is talking about politics. So someone who believes in not having government. Anti against disestablishmentarianism. So disestablishment, so like to be against the I don't know. Or no, actually it's talking about someone who likes having government. Because it's anti against disestablishment, so an establishment is a government. Disestablishment means no government. Mentarianism is like someone that likes that sort of thing. So I just wanted to show you this, to show you how convoluted some English words can be. This one's the longest one in the language. Okay? So I know this one was a little bit heavy on syllables and whatnot and stress, but I just wanted to go over it shortly with you so you could see some of the rules in terms of pronunciation. Okay? Don't worry, next week it will get easier. Okay? We'll start getting into different sort of things. And I appreciate those of you that brought in phrases and words. Once again, I'm going to assign, let's do 3 words each that you're bringing in next week that we can talk about and add to our word list. Danny, I'm liking that your word list is getting filled up. I'm also a little bit afraid that we're not going to be able to talk about all your words, but that's okay. It's good. It's a good reference for you, right? When you go through and you figure out what they mean, okay? So if you're using your word list, they're super helpful, all right? Because it's like your own personal dictionary of things that you use a lot. And the things that you use a lot should be up towards the top of it, okay? So, once you have written them down in your notebook, if you have a way to organize them, Danny's been using a spreadsheet on his computer. You don't need to use a computer, you can take a ruler and draw boxes and create your own, okay? And organize them. It's things that are helpful, things that are okay, things that you know but they're not as helpful, okay? So, 3 words for next week. All right? This stuff in the beginning can always feel a little bit heavy because it's like very base level and you're just like, oh, like we use this. Later on, when you start to recognize what we talked about today, then you'll be like, oh, okay, now it makes more sense. So if you don't understand some of this today, don't worry. I'm not expecting you to come next week and give you a test on this stuff. Okay? I'm giving you this and explaining it now, and then as we go later throughout the year, you'll notice things that we talked about in these first few classes, okay? And then it will make more sense as it goes along. So, okay?
Don't worry about that.
I read it every day, but I forgot English.
You know? It just comes from repetition, and I'm sure you remember a lot more than you give yourself credit. Because when I go home, I went home for 4 weeks, and I came back, and at first I was like, oh, I've forgotten everything. And then it just takes like a few minutes of sitting in the taxi, and the taxi driver, oh, you like dojo? And then it's like, oh, okay, I do remember things, okay? It just feels like you don't remember them. Okay?
Thank you.